Episode 3: The Quiet Fire: How Inflammaging is Rewriting Your Biological Clock. Let's start with a physical sensation we've all experienced. You twist your ankle. It swells up, turns red, and it hurts. That is acute inflammation. It's loud, it's uncomfortable, but it's actually your body's defense team rushing in to heal you. But there is another kind of inflammation. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't swell. It simply smolders in the background, like a quiet fire burning deep inside your cells. You won't feel a single symptom for years, maybe even decades. But day by day, this hidden process is subtly rewriting your biological clock. It breaks down cellular networks, stiffens blood vessels, and quietly drains your daily energy. Longevity scientists call this inflammaging, the intersection where chronic inflammation and aging meet. I'm Ivy. Welcome back to OptiNourish, the East-West Longevity Protocol. If you are new here, we avoid oversimplified advice or superficial health hacks. Everything we discuss is drawn straight from the clinical archives of Dr. Jingduan Yang. Dr. Yang is a board-certified Western psychiatrist and a fifth-generation doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. Today, we are going to look closely at this hidden drain on your longevity. We will translate the ancient Eastern concept of environmental heat into modern cellular science and share the exact East-West clinical strategies Dr. Yang uses to cool the flames, clear cellular debris, and protect your vital systems. When a patient came into a clinic complaining of chronic fatigue, brain fog, joint stiffness, and a sluggish metabolism, the ancient doctors knew there was a heat trapped deep inside the body, slowly consuming the person's vital energy, their qi. Today, Western longevity science perfectly validates this observation. Our modern lifestyle keeps our immune system in a perpetual state of low-grade panic. High-sugar diets, toxic exposure, and chronic mental stress send constant alarm signals. The body thinks it is under non-stop attack, so the inflammatory response stays turned on 24/7. The switch simply gets stuck. Let's start by looking at this through Dr. Yang's four-dimensional health framework, also known as the ACES model. True health requires harmony across four distinct pillars. Anatomy: your physical structure, your bones, muscles, and tissues. Chemistry: your molecules, nutrients, and biochemical pathways. Energy: your bioelectricity, or what Eastern medicine calls qi. Soul: your emotional resilience and psychological strength. Chronic inflammation is primarily a crisis in the chemistry dimension, but if you leave a chemical fire burning long enough, it spreads. It affects your physical structure, like joints and brain tissue. It continuously drains your energy, and it can eventually depress your soul, triggering anxiety and low mood. Dr. Yang often uses a simple analogy in his clinic. Chronic inflammation is like boiling a frog in warm water. The water starts out comfortable. The frog doesn't notice the danger as the temperature ticks up. It adjusts. It adapts. It doesn't realize the lethal threat until the water is already boiling, and by then, it's too late. In traditional Chinese medicine, doctors have observed this exact boiling phenomenon for thousands of years. They called it internal heat, 内火, or damp heat, 虚热. So, what is actually fueling this quiet fire inside your tissues? Dr. Yang's research points to two major culprits. The first involves senescent cells, often referred to as zombie cells. As we age, some cells get severely damaged. Normally, they should die and be cleared away by the immune system. But occasionally, these damaged cells refuse to die. They become zombies. They sit in your tissue, take up space, and secrete a toxic mix of inflammatory molecules known as the SASP. This mixture infects the healthy cells around them, spreading the fire through organs, blood vessels, and joints. The second fuel source comes from your digestion, specifically a condition called leaky gut. Dr. Yang sees this constantly in high-performing professionals and executives. Let's look at the mechanics. When you are highly stressed, sleeping poorly, and eating ultra-processed foods, the lining of your intestines, which is supposed to be a secure barrier, develops microscopic gaps. Undigested food particles, chemicals, and bacterial toxins slip through those gaps directly into your bloodstream. Your immune system sees these foreign invaders and instantly triggers systemic inflammation across your entire body. Because of a biochemical highway called the gut-brain axis, these inflammatory markers travel straight up into your brain. This is the exact biological reason why you experience brain fog. It is not that you are losing your memory or intelligence. It is that your brain is literally, physically inflamed. Your neurological circuitry is clouded by smoke. Now, let's go a layer deeper into the cellular engine. In our first episode, we talked about how NAD+ levels drop as you age. Chronic inflammation acts like an accelerator pedal, driving you toward that decline. Let's look at the chemistry. Inflammaging places an enormous amount of oxidative stress on your cells. This stress damages your mitochondria, the tiny power plants that manufacture ATP, your universal energy currency. When your mitochondria are damaged, they produce less energy and dump out massive amounts of destructive free radicals. This creates a compounding cycle. More free radicals mean more inflammation, which causes even more mitochondrial decay. To fight this decay, your cells rely on a master metabolic regulator gene called PGC1-alpha. PGC1-alpha is the general that commands your cells to build brand new, healthy mitochondria. But chronic inflammation actively suppresses PGC1-alpha, stripping your general of its power. At the same time, your body tries to manage the fire by deploying critical longevity enzymes called sirtuins, specifically SIRT1 and SIRT3. SIRT1 controls inflammation and protects your DNA. But here is the catch. Sirtuins cannot do their job without burning through massive amounts of NAD+. When chronic inflammation keeps SIRT1 turned on 24/7, your cell's NAD+ pool gets completely drained. The problem cascades from there. As SIRT1 breaks down NAD+ to combat inflammation, it generates a byproduct called nicotinamide, or NAM. To prevent this NAM from blocking sirtuin activity, your liver activates a clearance enzyme called NNMT. The good news is, you can put this fire out, break the trap, and restore your system. Here is how Dr. Yang cools the flames using the 4D framework. First, the chemical dimension, smart supplementation and the methyl shield. First, we stop feeding the chemical fire and protect our biochemical assets. Dr. Yang advocates for an anti-inflammatory diet, but clinically, you need targeted premium compounds to shift the needle. Omega-3 fatty acids. Think of these as your biological fire extinguishers. They physically embed into your cell membranes and suppress inflammatory pathways. Curcumin paired with piperine. Curcumin is a potent natural anti-inflammatory, but it is incredibly hard for your body to absorb. You must pair it with black pepper extract, piperine, to ensure it actually reaches your cells to quench the internal heat. The methyl shield, TMG and L-methionine. If you are supporting your NAD+ levels, you must protect your methyl pool. Dr. Yang recommends pairing NAD+ precursors with targeted methyl donors like trimethylglycine, TMG, or L-methionine. TMG provides 3 distinct methyl groups per molecule, which directly neutralizes the NNMT trap, lowers harmful homocysteine, and preserves your SAM levels. Senolytics, fisetin and quercetin. These natural compounds act like a cellular sniper team, tracking down and eliminating the toxic zombie cells that broadcast inflammation throughout your tissues. Second, the energy dimension, autophagy and mitochondria creation. To clear out accumulated molecular garbage, you have to temporarily pause your digestive engine. Dr. Yang frequently recommends intermittent fasting, known in TCM as bigu. When you fast, your insulin levels drop, activating autophagy, your cell's internal recycling program. It literally consumes and recycles the damaged, inflammatory proteins clogging your system. Furthermore, activating this metabolic pathway helps upregulate PGC1 alpha, giving your cells the green light to manufacture fresh, efficient mitochondria. Third, the soul dimension, vagal tone and immune stand-down. You cannot heal an inflamed body with a stressed mind. Chronic mental stress releases a flood of cortisol, which keeps the inflammatory fire burning. Dr. Yang prescribes slow, rhythmic breathing exercises to stimulate your vagus nerve. When you intentionally extend your exhalation, you send a direct signal to your nervous system that you are safe. When the brain feels safe, it commands the immune system to stand down and turn off the chronic inflammation. This brings us to a beautiful realization about longevity. Inflammation is not your body's enemy. It is a protector. It is just a protector that got confused and overwhelmed by the non-stop stress, toxicity, and speed of the modern world. It simply forgot how to turn off. True anti-aging isn't about fighting or forcing your biology. It's about making your body feel safe again. By providing the right nutrients, protecting your methyl pathways, and calming your nervous system, you give your immune system permission to rest. You cool the quiet fire, clear the fog, and take your biological clock back into your own hands. Next time on the podcast, ever wonder why sitting at a desk all day feels more exhausting than running a marathon? Join us as we explore the chi of nature, where Dr. Yang reveals how artificial blue light drains your mitochondria, and why the best prescription isn't a pill, but natural morning light. We'll dive into groundbreaking data on how early sunlight triggers mitophagy, cellular cleanup, and how pairing specific light rhythms with hot and cold shock therapy can radically boost your energy. I'm Ivy. Thank you for listening to the East-West Longevity Protocol by OptiNourish. Take care of your health, look after your cells, and I'll see you next week. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. The information presented should not be used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health regimen, especially if you have existing health conditions or are taking medications. Statements regarding nutrients and supplements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Individual results may vary.